Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Jessa Jeremiah. We have a great show for you today. Later on, we're going to be talking a little bit about summer skincare. We've also got some information for business owners. And right now, we're talking about a really great event that is both a music festival and a conference. So what a great way to combine some things. Joining us to talk about it is Roy Elkins, the founder, and Amber Sweener, the public relations and musician. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
What a fun thing to chat about. So I want to make sure viewers know a little bit about Between the Waves. Now this is, like I said, a festival and a conference. So give us kind of the broad spectrum on this so we know what it's all about.
It's like you say, it's two events. It starts with a conference on Thursday, June 15th. And it's an educational platform for musicians to come in and just help learn how to make a living making music. In the evening on Friday and Saturday night, June 16th and 17th, we have 45 bands playing at the Majestic, the Brink Lounge, and the High Noon over 2 days. And that's an awesome show with the who's who in the Madison music scene is playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like a great event, and you and I have gotten the chance to chat about it a little bit, Roy. It's nice to have you here, Amber.
Thank you.
A little bit different perspective. Now, you have been involved in this event, but also as a musician, you have, I'm sure, a lot of input as to why this is important. But first, tell me a little bit about your involvement.
Sure. So I got involved about a year ago, and Roy invited me to bring some of my marketing input since I have a marketing business. And I am also a musician, been a musician for 8 years. And this was an awesome opportunity to help with the marketing for the past year, but also bring the perspective of a musician who wants to learn more about how we can make our music more of our business and make more of a living through our music.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're talking specifically about the conference portion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So explain a little bit why somebody who's a musician and you know specifically might be interested in that component and how it can help them.
There are a lot of different channels in which you can get your music out there, make money, or just share your passion more for music. And that's what the conference is aiming to teach people about, how we can do more with our music. And that's what I'm excited to learn about, are all the different avenues that we can get our music out there.
Yeah, and this is a little bit what Roy and I chatted about before, which is that this is an industry that's really tough to navigate because there's not necessarily a step-by-step roadmap like there are in some of the other professions out there. So for musicians to be able to sit down with other folks who have paved their way to learn a little bit more about how they can grow, even if you're already successful, there's probably more you can do and learn from. So I think that's really incredible. As far as the conference is concerned, what are some of the highlights that folks can expect?
Well, I think there's a couple of real key things. The opening session is Paul Brusek, the president of Warner Pictures Music Group. He just produced the music to Wonder Woman, which set box office records last weekend. We also have local legend Ben Sidran, who's speaking on Sunday afternoon. Kip Winger, the famous rocker from the 80s and 90s, who's now a classical musician. Dave Spiro, Joe Walsh's manager, is speaking at the conference. And by the way, that all culminates with the Madison Area Music Awards on Sunday night, where a lot of these people are presenting awards to our local musicians. So it's going to be a great weekend for music.
No kidding. Wow, what a fun time here in Madison. Let's talk a little bit about the festival now, too. Now, the entire event spans from June 15th through 18th, the festival being part of that. Anything special you want to share about that?
Well, I think that there's 45 bands, and it's hard to pick one of them.
Right.
But
in a minute, anything
yeah,
special?
that's in 1 minute, yeah. There's a great metal showcase. There's singer-songwriter showcase with Mark Croft, and then Beth Killy's Chick Singer Night. And on Saturday night, though, I'm really excited about this. We have the Majestic Theater. We have a free hip-hop showcase with the Dogs of War, with Rob Dees, with Keon Andre, some of the best hip-hop artists in Madison. So there's a lot of everything for everybody.
Right. And before we go, we're about to head to break, but if you don't want to do both things, maybe you're a musician, you just want to go to the conference, or maybe you're a fan and you just want to watch some music and be part of that, can you do one or the other?
Yes. You can buy tickets online, a multi-day ticket, a ticket for the both conference and festival, or either or.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun, and you could stand to learn a lot, too, if you're a musician out there. Well, thank you for sharing a little bit about your experiences, and then Roy, again, for sharing more about the event. Sounds like a great time.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Again, this is Amber and Roy with Between the Waves Madison Music Festival and Conference. As a reminder, June 15th through June 18th. We've got more after the break. We're checking in with Wisconsin Business World. That's next on Talk of the Town. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. Thanks for tuning back in with us. We are going to talk about a fantastic program that, if you haven't heard about before, I'm excited for you to learn more about. We're talking about the Wisconsin Business World program, and joining us is Jack Orton, the program director. And I'm glad to see you.
Glad to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we love chatting with you. Now, this is a program and an organization that I have just fallen in love with over the years because you guys do such great things. So share a little bit about some of the new things that are going on, and then we'll get into some other things in a bit.
Sure. Well, we're vamping up for the Summer Business World program, which is our flagship summer program. Over the past 35 years it's been already, we hold 2 college campus summer camps. One, it's been historically held on St. Norbert's campus in De Pere. The other has been on the college campus of Edgewood College right here in Madison. In terms of what is going on right now, we're in the full season of the mini Business World program, which is kind of the condensed version of what our summer program is like. Our summer program is 4 days, 3 nights. It's where students run a hypothetical company from dawn until dusk, and they learn everything from the inner workings to Wisconsin's economy, to entrepreneurship, to the rise in the early days of Adam Smith and the free market economic model. And so the mini Business World program is held on site at high schools all across the state. And we kind of take over the auditorium, for example, and we have the kids kind of take over a failing hypothetical company. They kind of try and turn it around, and it's a lot like the summer program, but it's really packed into one day.
Yeah, what a great way to give kids, real world experience, because it is hard sometimes to translate the skills that you learn in the classroom to the real world. And this is such a great stepping stone because you're really faced with real life problems that could happen in a company, and a great way to set up some entrepreneurs potentially for the future.
Yeah, and we're finding that, we have students from all over Wisconsin participate in the Business World program, especially the summer program, and even in the minis are held all throughout the state. But we find that the most good that the program does is in the rural areas of the state. The curriculum is designed so that students that maybe don't have access to a very sophisticated business education curriculum, they come and they take over these hypothetical companies, and it's amazing what they discover in themselves. It's really awesome.
That is awesome. It's fun to talk to you about it too because you're so passionate about it, and I can see why. It's a really unique program and a great way to give all students, kids out there, access to that knowledge. Yeah. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about the summer program. So you said that Mini Business World is sort of mirrors in some ways the summer programs. Expand on that, and let's chat about when and where this summer's programs are going to be held.
So registration is open, regular registration. We opened early bird registration, which was way back in February, but now we're into regular registration. The first summer program that we're holding this year is at St. Norbert's College in De Pere. It is being held from June 18th through the 21st. The second is being at Edgewood College right here in Madison. It's on July 23rd through the 26th. Historically, we've only had about a week in between the 2 camps, but we found that maybe spacing them out a little bit more kids are able to participate in it. I mean, June 18th is right after high school, and it's also really close to Badger Boys and Badger Girls State, so we found that we were losing a lot of students by not being able to participate in the first program, so we spaced it out a little bit more. But yeah, the summer program is what our main event. The mini program only started in 2011. The summer program runs 4 days, 3 nights. It's on a college campus. Students get to work with business owners and business professionals from all over the state. We take them to local manufacturing businesses. We take them to local businesses in general and give them tours. We run them through everything from the early days of capitalism in Europe, medieval Europe, and then we run them all the way to the present day, the inner workings of Wisconsin's economy. We outline all the different terms, economic models that they hear in the daily news cycle, and everything that they need to be prepared for in the days to come, especially if they're thinking about not going on to college. We try and prepare them. We don't push college at all in our curriculum, but we try and prepare them and let them know about what is going on outside of high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well said. I mean, I don't know how to close that. That was wonderful. Jack Orton, you are just wonderful. Thanks for chatting with us
Yeah,
today
thanks for having me.
about Wisconsin Business World.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. We've got more Talk of the Town coming up after the break. Stick around. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. We're talking a little bit about small business. I think we're going to learn a thing or two. I've got Suzanne Clark from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and James Reed with MetLife, and I'm so glad to have you on the program today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, looking forward to chatting with you. I want to talk a little bit about the index. Now, according to the index, what % of small business owners are expecting to hire more staff, and are we anticipating revenue growth? What's that look like?
Well, great question. You know, if this last election taught us anything, it's that we need to get outside of our bubble and go talk to real America and real job creators. And so talking to these 1,000 business owners in depth on the phone taught us a lot. And one of the things it said to us is, wow, are these people unwaveringly optimistic right now? Fully 60% of the small business owners we talked to believe they're going to have short-term revenue growth, and also nearly a third of them expect to hire in the near future.
Wow. That's really incredible, and definitely a learning experience, you know, not being a small business owner myself, but taking a look at some of those things. And I'm wondering about finding the type of talent. How hard is it really to fill those jobs with the specific needs that those require?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. It's a great question. And what we found from the survey, we really broke the survey into 10 questions in the 3 key areas around the small business operation, which gets at the talent issue, around the business environment that they're working in, and expectations. Now, on the talent side, what we're finding with small business owners is that there's a war for talent across all of America, and especially for the small business owner. They were overly optimistic, as Suzanne mentioned, that they were able to both grow their staff. About a third felt they were going to be able to hire more people. So attracting that right talent was key. We did find in the survey that there is still a bit of a talent gap across small business owners, where 25% are sure that they have the role, but are they able to secure the right talent for it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of challenges that raises a lot of other questions. But I'm wondering what small business owners are saying specifically about their economies. Are they optimistic, or are they feeling like it's a struggle?
I think the closer they were to home, the study showed the closer they were to things they could control, their business, for example, the more optimistic they were. So most optimistic about their business, then about the regional economy, and the most uncertainty about the national economy. You know, Jessa, we have had 10 years of stalled economic growth, and these small businesses need the economic engine in the United States to just get moving again.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as the local economy is concerned, in comparison to the national outlook, what are your thoughts there?
Well, we've seen that the index and survey was pretty consistent around the overall economy from a local and national side. What we did find in the Midwest is that they were very optimistic. So the concerns that they have are really from a small business owner is that they're actually working more hours. Around 3 out of 10 of our survey respondents felt that they're actually putting more time and working more hours, and only 6% felt they were going to contract staff. And the second was that while the local economy, there was certainty and some expectations and optimism, the national economy still had some skepticism and unknowns about it.
Wow, okay. So some interesting facts there. I want to make sure we talk about the Small Business Summit that is coming up. Can we get involved with anything near our area?
Sure, we have summits across different parts of the country. The closest one in your area is that we're going to have a summit in Minneapolis. That's the closest to the Wisconsin area. However, this is the first year of the summits. So just like this is our first survey launch in the second quarter, we expect to have the surveys go out every quarter. And our expectations in working in partnership with the Chamber next year is we're going to pick and choose different areas across the different regions to make sure we can bring a summit series near you.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and Minneapolis is a great city to host. So let's talk just briefly before we go about where viewers can go for more information if they're interested in attending or finding out more.
Absolutely. There are 2 things I would recommend, and one is that you have great local chambers and great business community advocates in your area, you know, right there. And so I hope that they will take advantage of that. Entrepreneurs need an ecosystem of experts and support more than they need anything else to succeed. Second, you can go to sbindex.us and smallbusinessseries.com to learn more about some of the tools that we're here to provide. You know, these America's Job Creators have said clearly in this index, we're ready to grow, we're ready to hire, and MetLife and the Chamber are here to help them.
Well, thank you so much, Suzanne Clark and James Reed. Fascinating topic, great information. We'll be back with more Talk of the Town. Hi, and welcome back to Talk of the Town. It is finally warm enough to talk about this topic. We're excited to talk about summer skincare. We're joined now by our news partner, the Medicine Shop Pharmacy in Monona, and owner Eric Hewick is here. Thanks for being here.
Thanks again for having me back.
Glad to talk to you, and I'm so glad we can finally talk about skincare.
Yes, it's been a long haul.
Yeah, it means we're outside, we're having
Yes.
fun. But let's talk about a few key pointers that you have for us to keep ourselves protected this summer.
Yeah. So number one thing, and you hear it all the time, make sure you put sunscreen on before you get exposed to the sun. It's not always the easiest thing to remember that before we go out of the house, we got to put that stuff on. But immediately when you get out there, you start getting exposed. So put it on before. Make sure you have something that's a broad spectrum coverage that, high enough SPF, probably at least I would say 30 SPF, and something that's broad spectrum so it covers you. And then just make sure that you reapply. You know, just because you put it on before you leave the house doesn't mean it's going to last for the duration of time that you're going to be out there.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially when you've got kids out there too, because
Yes.
it's hard getting those little bodies reapplied sometimes, but so
Yes.
important.
It is,
So.
because it doesn't last forever,
No.
unfortunately.
About
It-
how long now do you think it lasts for some?
It really depends on your skincare type,
Yeah.
or your skin type. I mean, some people that are a little bit, not as tan or don't come from a line that has a deeper complexion, they're gonna have to reapply more often. Maybe up to every hour or 2 hours kind of a thing. Some people that are a little bit more dark complected, maybe a little bit less often, maybe every 2 to 3 hours, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But so I would say a couple hours. Especially if you're in straight sunlight, it's not a bad idea to reapply.
Yeah, absolutely, especially on the water with all the reflection
Yes.
and such. I'm about every 10 minutes. I'm kind of close to it. I probably should. Let's talk a little bit about the different kinds of sunscreens that are offered, because there's all these different choices, right? You got your spray, you got your lotion,
Yep.
you've got waterproof, sweat-proof. What are some of the pros and cons, or what
Sure.
should we be choosing?
Obviously, the continuous spray stuff is really convenient. I mean, with my kids, we use it all the time. It's so much more convenient, especially with faces and necks and that kind of stuff. But sometimes you're relying on obviously aerosols to give coverage, and it's not going to give as even a coverage as the old-fashioned putting the lotion on, that kind of thing. As far as waterproof and sweat-proof go, they help. But nothing is waterproof, nothing is sweat-proof. So if you're out swimming, again, you're gonna have to apply it more often, because there really is no such thing as just putting it on. It's gonna stay on no matter what. So those things are better in those types of situations, but saying they're completely waterproof or completely sweat-proof
Right.
is not really truly the case.
Yeah, and you don't want to let that give you sort of a false sense of security.
Exactly.
So careful of those.
We've probably
Now-
all been there too, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've learned from experience. Let's talk about this, because I think this is one that's important, where if some of these things you did already know, here's one that you may not think about too much, which is the combination of medication and skin sensitivity. That
Yep.
can be a big troublemaker for some folks if
Yep.
you don't know if yourself or your kid is on a certain medication that causes issues. So
Yes.
chat with us.
Absolutely. And that's something that people, may not be used to, because maybe they just got put on a medication. There are a few broad classes of medications that can cause that. Always, again, talk to your pharmacist to know whether or not you're on a specific one, but things like antibiotics. Not all antibiotics, but some antibiotics can cause sun sensitivity. Some blood pressure medications, some anti-seizure medications. Those types of things can have these sun sensitivities that make you more sensitive to sunlight and have you get burned easier when you're out and exposed to sun.
Really good pointers. Think about how many times your kids go on antibiotics in the course of a lifetime, probably one or, at least
Yes.
once or twice. So really good point. Now, if we didn't listen to anything you just said,
Yes.
and we get sunburned, what are some good remedies for us?
The old tried and true aloe is one of the best things that you can do. It helps to moisturize, it helps to kind of cool the skin, that kind of thing. But again, staying moisturized, your skin gets sunburned, it gets damaged, and then it gets really dry, and you start to peel and itch and that kind of thing. So make sure the skin stays moisturized is also a good thing. But tried and true aloe, you can't get better than that.
All right, that's a good tip, the real deal. Well, thank you so much for sharing this. Again, is Eric Hewitt, owner of Medicine Shop Pharmacy in Monona, right on Monona Drive. Thanks for the pointers. We
Yes.
appreciate it. Thank you so much to all of our guests for being with us today, and I want to thank you at home for watching. Please join us next time for Talk of the Town.